Welcome to The Explainer. What if you could find the actual cheat codes for making money? Well, that's exactly what entrepreneur Dan Martell claims he's done. I mean, this is a guy who went from a really troubled youth to building a net worth over $100 million, and now he says he's figured out the playbook. I mean, think about that for a second. His journey is just incredible proof that where you start in life absolutely does not define where you can end up. He looks at creating wealth like a video game, and he's convinced he's found the cheat codes to win. So let's dive in and see what they are. His core idea is pretty simple, but it's powerful. Stop looking at building wealth as this long, hard grind. Start seeing it as a game. And in any game, if you understand the rules and maybe a few of the loopholes, you can totally win. These are his 5 principles that he says make winning feel like cheating. So here's the roadmap for this explainer. We've got 5 sheets. Skills over money. Results over time, flow over piles, focusing on your own pockets, not theirs. And finally, using money as a tool. All right, let's jump right into the first one. Okay, cheat number 1 is a complete mindset shift. You have to stop chasing money. Seriously, the goal instead is to build skills that are so valuable, so in demand, that money starts chasing you. You're basically trying to become what he calls an attractive character. So how do you actually do that? How do you build one of these valuable skills? Well, he breaks it down into 3 pretty clear steps. First, get super specific. Pick a skill that solves a real problem, something that saves people time, saves them money, or makes them money. Then design your learning path. You can even use tools like ChatGPT to map out a whole 12-week plan. But that third step, that's the most crucial one. You have to master your craft. Go deep. Commit to being the best. And this right here is such a key insight. The difficulty of learning a skill? That's not a bug, it's a feature. The harder it is, the more valuable it becomes, because you know that very few people are going to put in the work. That difficulty, that's your moat. It creates a barrier that keeps everyone else out. And that's exactly what creates the opportunity. Okay, so cheat number 2, this builds directly on that first one. Once you've got that high-value skill, you have got to stop trading your time for money. It's time to start charging for results. I mean, have you ever really thought about this? Charging by the hour literally punishes you for getting better at your job. The faster and more efficient you get, the less you earn to do the same task. It's insane. Your incentive is to be slower. But when you flip that and you start charging for the result, the whole game changes. Now you're rewarded for being better and smarter and faster. Okay, this is perfectly explained by this classic story. Picture this. A factory's giant multi-million-dollar machine grinds to a halt. Production stops. They call in an expert electrician. She comes in, looks at the machine for maybe 5 minutes, pulls out a small hammer, and gives one single, precise tap to a specific spot. And just like that, the machine roars back to life. Then she hands the factory owner a bill for $10,000. And the owner, he's furious. 10 grand for 5 minutes of work and one tap with a hammer? And her response is just perfect. The bill isn't for the time and the tap. That's $100. The other $9,900, that's for the decades of experience, for knowing exactly where to tap. So how do you actually do this? First, you define one specific high-value problem that you can solve. Then you create a repeatable, bulletproof process that guarantees that outcome. And then, and this is key, you sell the value you create. You're not selling the price, you're selling the speed, the impact, the peace of mind, the fact that you know where to tap. All right, cheat number 3. Now, this one really flips a common goal on its head. Most people think the goal is to build up a giant pile of cash. Martell says that's wrong. The goal is to create a consistent, reliable flow. A big pile of cash can actually make you its prisoner. You just live in constant fear of losing it. But a predictable cash flow, man, that creates freedom. It's based on a repeatable skill. Think about it. Even if you lost everything tomorrow, if you have a cash flow skill, you know exactly how to build it all back up again. And for anyone in business, you have to get this. It's such a critical distinction. A business doesn't die because of low profits. Profit is just an accounting term, a number on a spreadsheet. A business dies when it runs out of cash. Cash is the oxygen. It's what you use to pay your people and keep the lights on. This is why Martell makes this bold claim that earning this number, $100,000 every single month, is way more impressive and way more powerful than having $1 million sitting in the bank one time. So, why is that? It's because earning that consistently proves you've done something far more important than just get lucky. It proves you've mastered the skill of creating wealth. It's not about the money itself. It's about your proven ability to generate it again and again and again. That is true financial security. Okay, on to cheat number 4. This one is all about mindset and getting out of a really dangerous but common trap. It's about focusing on your pockets, not theirs. So Martel tells this great story about a guy he met who could tell you down to the dollar what everyone else he knew was making. He was obsessed. But when Martel asked him about his own business's numbers, crickets. He had no idea. He was so busy counting other people's money that he never bothered to look at his own. And it all comes down to this. It is so easy to get jealous and fall into the comparison trap. But you have to remember, you're just comparing your chapter 3 to somebody else's chapter 13. The people you envy aren't better than you. They're just further along in their own story. The only person you should be competing with is you from yesterday. Look, you win this game by doing the work, not by wishing. So here's a practical rhythm you can literally start today. Every single day, look at your bank account. Get comfortable with your numbers. Every week, review your financial pillar. Score yourself 1 to 10 and just pick one thing to improve. And every month, do a simple personal P&L. This is how you take back control. And that brings us to the final cheat code, number 5. This is the one that really ties everything together. It reveals the ultimate goal of this entire game, the real reason you're doing any of this in the first place. And he tells this powerful, kind of sad story about a food truck owner. The guy was super successful for decades, but he was so paranoid, he hoarded all his cash in his house. He never hired help, never invested, never leveraged his success. He didn't build a business, he built himself a prison. He just created a really, really low-paying job for himself because he forgot that money is a tool. And that right there is the whole point of this entire game. The ultimate prize isn't some number in your bank account. Real freedom is found in your calendar. It's the ability to wake up and choose how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you work on. That is what money is for. It's a tool to buy back your time. And that, really, is the ultimate cheat code. To build a system, a business, a life, where what looks like work to everybody else feels like play to you. So let me just leave you with this one question to think about. If your real goal wasn't just making more money, but was designing your perfect day, what would you do differently starting tomorrow?